If you've ever stood in front of a seed rack or scrolled through an online catalog and thought, how in the world am I supposed to choose what to grow? You're not alone. I've totally been there, and in today's episode, I want to help you get started with confidence, even if you have no clue what to grow yet. Because gardening isn't about doing it all, it's about starting small and growing what matters to you. Whether you have a big backyard or just a sunny windowsill, even growing just one plant makes a difference. And if you're new here, I'm Audrey Crawford, a lifelong gardener from the Central Valley of California, and this is the Audrey's Little Farm Show, where I take the guesswork out of gardening and help you grow a successful garden one simple step at a time. So let me take you back to a season in my life when I really thought I needed to grow everything. I'm really fortunate because I have a lot of space to grow, and it seems like each year we're continuously adding on, but sometimes that can cause more problems. And I know if you are limited on space, you're probably just wishing you had more space. But since space is not a constraint for me, I tend to overdo it, and that just sometimes leads to a lot of overwhelm and sometimes more problems. And so I remember when we first completely rebuilt the garden where I currently have my garden. We've gone through lots of iterations over the years, but the current garden where I have lots of raised beds and some big long rows, I just knew I had lots of planting space that was prepared and ready to go. And so I would flip through seed catalogs before the growing season, and I would start adding just about one of everything to the cart. I'd think, well, I might want to start cooking with eggplant, even though I know I don't really like eggplant. Or maybe I'll figure out how to use kohlrabi, even though I had never heard of it. And into the cart it went. But here's what ended up happening. I was planting so many things, half of which we never ate. I was watering, weeding, and tending to all of these plants just to prove to myself that I could do it, and I completely missed the point. I didn't need to prove anything. I needed a garden that supported my life, not one that overwhelmed it. So if you're in that place, feeling like you should grow it all, I want to remind you that you don't need to grow everything, you just need to grow what you love. So if you're brand new, you might even just be thinking, but I don't even know where to begin. So let's talk through a few super simple questions that can help guide you on what to grow. First up, what do you and your family actually eat on a weekly basis? Think about the meals that you cook. Do you eat salads, tacos, soups, pasta? That'll help give you an idea of the ingredients that go into each of those dishes, and then you can go from there on what you might actually want to grow. Next, think about what's expensive at the store, but easy to grow at home. So a great example of this is fresh herbs. They're very expensive to buy fresh at the store, but they're so easy to grow even in a pot. Or even if you just have a simple potted herb on your windowsill, that can work. So herbs are definitely one that are well worth your time and minimal effort because they're pricey to buy, but so easy to grow. And then ask yourself, what grows well in my zone or the season that I'm in? So for example, some plants thrive in the cooler temperatures, others need the warm weather to thrive. So knowing what season you're in and then what crops grow during that season is key. And then finally, how much space and time do you really have right now? And it's totally okay to start small. In fact, I really even recommend starting small. So quick recap. What do you eat often? What's expensive but easy to grow? What grows in the season that you're currently in? And how much space and time do you currently have? So I know for me personally, I am in a season of life where time is very limited. In fact, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can probably see that I'm just sitting outside. And the reason I'm outside today filming is because my son is napping and I don't want to wake him up. And in fact, it's probably actually a better view than what I normally have. I don't have a very good backdrop inside. So I got to this point today and I was actually going to skip filming because my family's getting ready to go on vacation. And there's just been so many things this week getting ready to go on this trip. And I hadn't got this episode filmed, but I decided to squeeze it in because he's napping and I didn't want to let a week go by without putting a podcast out. But the point is that every little task that gets added to my plate right now feels big. Being a stay-at-home mom with a little one, juggling work and family responsibilities, plus everything in the garden is a lot. And so this year I'm being very intentional about just only growing the crops that we love and use. Because I think a lot of times when it comes to growing a garden, we just think about planting time. We don't think about everything that comes after. But that is really where the time starts adding up. There's watering, weeding, harvesting, and then the cooking or preserving of each crop. And so that is why I think it's such a great idea to start small, especially if you're brand new to gardening. So here's the part I think a lot of us overlook, and that is that you don't need a giant garden to make a big impact. You can grow lettuce in a window box, you can grow basil in a little pot by your kitchen sink, and every time you harvest something that you grew, even if that's just a handful of herbs, it's empowering and it's so rewarding. And starting small helps you learn, it helps you succeed and build confidence. And trust me, A few wins in the garden feel so much better than burnout from taking on too much. So if you've been waiting for permission to keep it simple, here it is. Small is smart, small is powerful, small is enough. I know that was kind of just clever, but the point is small is good. Small is not a bad thing. And now I know that was more just a little bit motivational, but now let's get super practical. So here's a simple 5-step plan to help you choose what to grow starting today. So the first thing is to make a list of 5 to 10 foods that you and your family eat regularly. Circle the 3 to 5 that you want most or that are most expensive at the store. Third, check your zone and see when they should be planted. So a super easy tool to help you figure this out is an online tool that I love. It's called Seed Time. I will link to it in the show notes below. But all you have to do is type in your zip code and then you start adding crops to your planting calendar and it will tell you exactly when to plant based on your location. Fourth, decide if you'll grow from seed or by transplants. This is actually one of my other favorite features of Seed Time. So when you add a crop to the planting calendar, it will automatically put in the recommended planting method. So if it's something that should always be direct sown by seed, it will put it in the calendar as directly sown. If it's something that needs to be transplanted, it will put it in as a transplant. So for example, carrots would be something that should always be directly sown by seed. You shouldn't plant carrots as a transplant. However, tomatoes are something that should always be transplanted. So then you would need to decide whether you're going to start your own seedlings or buy them already started at your local nursery. And either way is totally fine. You just should do whatever feels manageable to you. And then fifth, give yourself permission to learn as you go. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to get started. And I promise each season is going to get better and better. So even if you only grow one thing this season, that is a win. And if you'd like to have this plan for yourself, I actually turned it into a free quick start garden plan guide that you can download for free. All you have to do is head to the link in the show notes below and it will take you to a landing page to put in your name and email, and then you can print it out and start planning your garden. And so as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. Your garden doesn't have to look like anyone else's. You don't need to grow what Instagram tells you to grow. You just need to grow what you love. So if all you grow is mint for your iced tea, amazing. If you grow cherry tomatoes just so your kids can snack on them outside, beautiful. If you grow basil just to make fresh pesto once a week, that's worth it. Every little bit of food that you grow makes you more self-sufficient, more connected to nature, and more empowered. So if this episode helped bring you some clarity or encouragement, I'd love to hear about it. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can leave a comment below. Or if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, I would really appreciate a review. It really helps this show get found by other gardeners. And if you're looking for step-by-step help with planting your garden with personalized support, figuring out planting dates, choosing the right crops, how to design your garden, all of the things that really go into growing a successful garden year-round, I would love for you to join me inside Audrey's Little Farm Academy. You'll get access to all of my garden planning resources and even a free 14-day trial to get started. The link will be in the show notes below. Until next time, just remember, start small, grow what matters to you, and know that even just one plant makes a difference.